It's a common thread in hero journeys that the character starts out the story or the movie believing in a lie, but grows throughout the story until he learns a better truth. This is called the character's arc. For example, we can think about Tony Stark starting the story of Iron Man, believing his weapons manufacturing is important to world peace.
That's how Dad did it, that's how America does it, and it's worked out pretty well so far.
And discovering that it in fact brings about more destruction.
I saw young Americans killed by the very weapons I created to defend them and protect them.
He starts out self-centered and ends up heroic.
I am Iron Man.
Kind of. However, some stories have a hero that knows the truth all along and lives in a world where his journey is to convince everyone else in this truth. Captain America starts as the good man, trying to do what is right.
I don't want to kill anyone. I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from.
And he ends the same, but he's convinced everyone else of his heroism along the way. Such heroes arguably don't have an arc at all. They are the ones that always knew the truth. They're almost like a force of nature in their willingness to act on that truth, regardless of doubts or the tests that they endure.
You just don't know when to give up, do you?
I can do this all day.
Technically speaking, this is called the flat arc. As a side note, the YouTube channel Just Right has an amazing video exploring this concept, which we'll link in the description below. Infinity War is one of those stories. Our protagonist, Thanos, even though he's a villain, starts out the movie the same way he ends it. He believes some sacrifices have to be made for the greater good.
The hardest choices require the strongest wills.
Sacrifice is the entire theme of the movie. It's not a truth Thanos ever discovers. He has known that truth since before his planet was destroyed. Except back then, no one was convinced by him and it led to catastrophe.
They called me a madman. And what I predicted came to pass.
Throughout the movie, his belief in this truth is tested. He has to sacrifice the Black Order members and his entire army as nothing more than distractions on Earth while collecting most of the Infinity Stones. And his toughest test is of course sacrificing his favourite child Gamora in order to get the Soul Stone.
I ignored my destiny once. I cannot do that again. Even for you.
At every step he knows one simple truth. He alone has the will to sacrifice whatever is needed for the greater good.
I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
Every other character in the movie tries to avoid this truth. This is the lie that they believe from a storytelling point of view anyway.
We don't trade lies, Captain.
They're unwilling to sacrifice anyone for the greater good of stopping Thanos. Loki isn't willing to sacrifice Thor.
Alright, stop!
Tony does his best to keep Parker away.
Happy trails, kid. Friday, send him home.
Yep. Oh, come on!
Quill takes way too long to decide to kill Gamora.
Why does somebody always have to die in this scenario?
Scarlet Witch and everyone else refuses to sacrifice Vision.
We're not having this conversation.
And Gamora can't sacrifice Nebula.
Stop it.
However, the movie ends badly for all of those characters. Catastrophically badly. This is the story's way of letting us know that what they believed was a lie, and what Thanos believed all along was the truth. The ending of Infinity War probably made them learn their lesson, that some sacrifices really do have to be made for the greater good.
Oh, God.
The only exception here is Doctor Strange, and that brings us to the negative arc. Well, at least one variation of it. Strange starts the movie with a will to sacrifice that mirrors Thanos. Like Thanos, he already knows the truth. He's willing to sacrifice Stark and Parker to safeguard the Time Stone.
If it comes to saving you, or the kid, or the Time Stone, I will not hesitate to let either of you die.
He is already willing. He doesn't need to learn to do it. But then something happens.
Went forward in time to view alternate futures, to see all the possible outcomes of the coming conflict.
After seeing the future, or basically seeing the plot leak for Avengers Endgame, he suddenly believes the lie as well, and seems to lose his nerve when it comes to sacrificing Stark.
Spare his life, and I will give you the stone.
And he dies as a result. This is where the real fun begins, for one simple reason. Even though Infinity War can be analysed as a great story on its own terms, with character arcs of all kinds and an obvious truth-lie story structure, another equally true statement is that this movie is only half of a bigger story, with Avengers Endgame being the second half. Assuming Endgame is just as well written as Infinity War was, we can safely assume that Doctor Strange didn't just fall for a lie at all. What he saw was in fact a deeper truth that we'll learn about next. Something deeper than what anyone else, including Thanos, has yet to see. Strange's sudden unwillingness to sacrifice doesn't stem from lack of will or lack of character, it's because he saw what the sacrifice will lead to.
There was no other way.
This is where the flaw in the truth Thanos believes in will be revealed to be just another lie. This is the Endgame. An educated guess would be that this next chapter will be all about choice.
Why is this any different? Because you might have a choice.
Just because some sacrifices have to be made, it doesn't mean there's never a choice. Thanos is so proud of his own will to act and to sacrifice that he never stops to ask if there's a choice. We don't know if the planet Titan ever had a better choice, but we could imagine some choices that aren't as mad as wiping out half the population. Like maybe expanding the civilization to other planets, for example. Even when Thanos learns he will have to sacrifice his beloved daughter to get the Soul Stone,
the stone demands a sacrifice.
He doesn't even stop to ask any question about it to see if it can be avoided. He jumps to the sacrifices first. Perhaps another thing flawed in Thanos' truth is the willingness to sacrifice others, but not himself. Captain America was willing to sacrifice himself all those years ago. Vision wanted to sacrifice himself, and so did Gamora. None of them wished to kill some other people so that their problems would go away. Only Thanos was morally willing to let others die. Despite their willingness, Vision and Gamora didn't sacrifice themselves, but asked others to do it for them. You may agree with this choice, and the movie does give reasons to, but the movie also tells us this is the wrong kind of sacrifice. We know this isn't the truth, because in the end those sacrifices didn't even count. So coming back to Avengers Endgame, as a whole other story of its own, it needs to be about telling us how what was previously the truth is in fact a lie. We should see that all those sacrifices Thanos made simply weren't worth it.
The children born have known nothing but full bellies and clear skies. It's a paradise.
And Earth is not the paradise Thanos promised us it would be by now. At the same time, the heroes now know the truth about their own previous lie. They thought they could avoid all sacrifices.
We don't trade lives, Vision.
But Thanos showed them at least some sacrifices are necessary. As a storytelling device, it's also perfect for killing off some main characters as a sacrifice to save everyone else, as well as a way to bookend the past 11 years of heroic stories. This story will be everything that it should be if those sacrifices aren't taken lightly. They shouldn't be as eager to sacrifice as Thanos was, unless there really is no other choice. And it should be about one or more of them choosing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good, and not have someone else do it for them. Judging from the trailers for Endgame, it looks like we're in for another fun ride. Thank you so much, fellow amateur superheroes, for watching our very first video on the Amateur Superhero channel. We hope you liked it, so don't forget to like and share and subscribe and all the rest, and we'd love to get your thoughts in the comments. Our next video will be exploring the deep connections between Infinity War and Age of Ultron, and we have some more surprises for you after that. So subscribe now, turn on notifications, and you will get all of our content. Thank you.